Okay, welcome to basics. Welcome to Floorballbasics. Okay, two areas. Area number one will be your grip. Area number two will be your blade. Over the course of time, after using your stick, right, your stick is actually giving you clues as well in terms of what did you do to your stick, to your game, and from there you can actually find out whether you are, say, towards the correct direction, you're doing it correctly, or say maybe not so, and what can you do to correct that. Okay. The marks that's left over on your blade and the grip mark, basically your palm, that's left over on your grip. Okay, what happens from there, you will actually understand where have you been using your blade most and where have you been holding your hand most. Okay, if you want to understand more deeply, of course, stay all the way to the end and then see what can you correct it. Okay, please feel free to just like, share across to your friends if someone does need some understanding to that game. The blade is definitely used on the ground, right? And therefore you are doing your drag shots, your passes, dribbling and everything. Now over time what happens is it will wear off. Am I right to say that? It will definitely wear off. Okay, I'm going to get close to the camera. Now, this pink blade I have as of now is not as worn out. Okay, but if I were to use this part, the tip, because usually the tip is not used as much. This is like more or less the original thickness. Okay, then not so sure whether you can notice that it will gradually just wear out a bit. Because this is still not as worn out, so it's not as clear as obvious. I'll show you something that's not more clear. You can see this is the original thickness. Then you can see very clearly already it's being worn out. The most worn out is somewhere around here. You can see it's the thinnest. This is very thin. It gets slightly a bit thicker over there, and then over here it gets slightly thicker over here. So most of the time it's somewhere here. My blade is on the ground the most at this part of the blade. Okay, so this is one clue. Another way of taking a look in terms of getting clues, right, is you just look all the way to the base. Okay, so again, if it's very much untouched, you can see that it's very clean. Let's say we are used all the way to the tip here. Okay, it's very much clean. And because this blade has been used sometimes on the concrete ground, you can see that it gets rougher and rougher and rougher. And then now you can see all the roughness come in. So where is the main bulk of it? I'll just stick somewhere in the center. Okay, so let's say at the center somewhere here. So it's somewhere here again. Okay, so you can see this ox dog. And then this little triangle area over here, this is it, and the ox dog and the little triangle, yeah, is almost thereabouts. Okay, the little triangle, or not this rectangular part, but basically it's around here. So this is the clue that's being left by my stick to me to say that I've been using that part of the blade most of the time. Now I've seen a bit more extreme case. Okay, so again, I use it mostly here. But I've seen some players, their blade that's being worn out is somewhere actually more closer towards here, which is kind of a bit far off. Okay, so if let's say I use the example, let me just adjust the camera. I use the example where if most of the time you use this part of the blade over here, what happens is you can see that there's this empty space here. Correct? And if let's say if this is your ball and you are dribbling here most of the time, okay, it will move around. But because this extra space, what happens is, through my observation, you actually lose the ball a lot of the time. But because I'm using it here, right, this is what it's telling me, I'm using it here, then naturally my blade is more or less, can you see, the base of the blade is more or less covering it. Yeah, so this is what I usually recommend. You go somewhere around in the middle, or not, at least closer towards the base of the blade. Again, why can't... Okay, so that's on the blade. What about your grip? Okay, thankfully my grips for both sticks are both white. If you get and understand what I'm trying to drive at, you will probably also understand on the grip portion. Now the grip portion, right, because like I said, mine is white. If yours is black, later I still can give you a bit of a solution in terms of how to observe it. But basically, because it's white, right, most of the time when you grip it, then of course naturally over time it becomes black. Okay, so this is actually a key indication on where most of the time your hands are, which is, for me, most of the time my hands is over here. Okay, if just if, okay? If let's say, most of the time I do it a bit more extreme, okay? If I hold it somewhere here, with let's say the tail popping out, naturally, this portion will actually become blacker, and this will not be actually that black. So then it actually does give you a clue. Do you actually need to cut your stick? If you need to cut your stick, then cut your stick. Because by doing this, with this little tail popping out, it's actually not helping. Of course, this stick is also very similar. You can see it's the same thing. This portion is the blackest. And over here, not so sure whether you can see it. It's also relatively black because my needle, or rather the hand that's holding the needle is holding there. It also does give you an indication, because over time, it does give you an indication on this, on your secondary hand. What it can also gives you is, are you holding your hand, secondary hand, low enough? Because sometimes some people who are not so hardworking or lazy, they might hold it a bit higher. When they hold it a bit higher and play, again, something that's left over there, and with that something that's left over there, it might actually indirectly affect the shots, the passes and everything. It might actually give you an indication, oh, I'm actually holding it too high. Maybe I should actually hold it lower. So again, another way to find out, have you been actually doing it correctly or not? Okay, but for those that are using black color blade, black color grip, if the grip is black color and then you use it, of course it's harder to take note. But what happens is there's always this thing called wear and tear and friction. Okay, so over time, of course, depending on how rough your hands are, etc., or maybe sweaty palms, it does give you some mark. And over time, when the grip wear out, it will just disintegrate. The disintegration of the grip does also give you an indication where have you been holding most, because then that part where you hold the most would disintegrate faster or more as compared to the other parts. So that's just another way to find out. Okay, but if you, let's say, do have a black grip and then you want to make it a bit more obvious, like, hey, I just want to see if I really do hold it properly, then of course you can just add on another over grip, maybe the over grip as another color, and from there you can help you to gauge. That's just a side opinion. I also been running my Floorball Academy, so if anyone's in the under 12 category or under 8 category, they're interested to learn more, play more, just get together to learn the game, please also do look into www.floorballbasics.com. Sign up there. It's the holidays now. Even when school reopens, you guys can also join us and have fun in this game. So if not, I'll see you in the next video.